In a state of confusion, I was forced to go through 3 rounds and was asked to do it again after sobering up. What exactly is going on here? Since the last time, I had a serious argument with my boyfriend, and the two of us have been in a cold war for a while. After the argument, there was a period of emotional blankness. At this time, a young guy entered my life, an 18-year-old who was still in his first year of college. His name is Xiaocheng. He temporarily filled some gaps, and under the influence of the young guy's abundant male hormones, I ended up having sexual relations with him for 2 nights, somewhat reluctantly. Due to the young guy's abundant energy, even though it was only over 2 nights, we indeed engaged in a lot of intimate activities during those nights. At that time, I was almost in a semi-conscious state. Moreover, when I was awake, I was almost always in a state of being with him, and the fainting was because I was overwhelmed with pleasure. However, since there was a 5-year age difference between us, I didn't take this kind of relationship seriously. I just thought it was a momentary impulse from a young guy. Moreover, not long after, I reconciled with my boyfriend. After getting back together, my boyfriend was like an eager dog reunited after a long separation, and we had a passionate time together. So, I decisively ended the relationship with the young guy, and the two of us gradually drifted apart. However, occasionally we would still make a phone call, tease each other, show some concern for one another, or even share a joke. Say, if there was an opportunity, we might even have a casual meal together. On this particular day, I had another disagreement with my boyfriend. Moreover, my boyfriend was going abroad for a business trip in the coming days. And suddenly, I found myself with some free time after being busy because of the tiff with my boyfriend. He didn't call to apologize, and I certainly wasn't going to call him. So for a while, my life suddenly felt empty again. What was unfortunate was that the young guy, Xiaocheng, suddenly called again one afternoon. After learning that I had another disagreement with my husband, he seemed quite happy and overly excited, insisting on coming over to comfort me. Of course, I knew he was like a weasel, wishing a chicken a happy new year with no good intentions. If I let him come over, it might not be him comforting me, but rather me having to comfort him with my body. So, I firmly opposed it. However, later on, after his persistent pleading, I finally relented a bit and agreed to go out for a walk with him, since I hadn't seen this young guy in a long time. The weather in my hometown was also quite hot. So I unintentionally picked a very tight-fitting t-shirt and a newly bought mini skirt to wear out. Even unintentionally, before going out, I deliberately took a shower and changed into a newly bought set of light purple semi-transparent lace underwear and bronze-colored panties. After putting them on, looking at myself in the mirror, my slim figure combined with the lace close-fitting clothing almost revealed my 3 important areas. I found myself feeling quite alluring and couldn't help but feel a bit proud. When the time for the date with the young guy arrived, I dressed up beautifully and went to meet him. Strangely, I felt the kind of excitement one has when meeting a lover, and I even blushed a little after seeing the young guy, which is not at all how a woman 5 years older than him should behave. The first thing the young guy said when we met was, "Wow, big sister, you are getting more and more beautiful today. I almost started drooling when I saw you from afar, especially those long, charming legs of yours. Do you know how many guys on the street were staring at you?" I reached out as if to knock on his head and said, "You little rascal, instead of learning good things, you learn to sweet talk and deceive your big sister." However, I missed hitting him as he dodged away, and then his lecherous eyes were fixed on my underarms and chest, which are sensitive areas for a girl. Even though it was just a glance from a guy, it still made me feel alert, and I was momentarily stunned. It was as if he had discovered some secret about me. Even when he said, "I caught a glimpse of your inner beauty when you reached out, and it's light purple." I heard Zhang Yi say that her face turned red in an instant. He said that women who wear purple underwear are the type who are secretly passionate and unsatisfied. Hearing him say that, it was actually quite accurate. At that moment, I was indeed in a state of being unsatisfied. Is it that some desires couldn't be fulfilled with my boyfriend? So I unintentionally chose a set of purple underwear, and when he pointed it out, my face immediately turned red. At that time, I was wearing a very short mini skirt. Ah, but I thought it wouldn't be so easily exposed, you know? So how could he know I was wearing purple? I think he must have been guessing randomly. So I made a bet with him, saying that I wasn't wearing purple. The young guy said that if I lost, I would have to run a lap around the park. But if the older sister lost, I couldn't think of anything at the moment. So today just agreed to one small request from me. I didn't expect that this young guy would agree so quickly without any hesitation, and even laid out the conditions clearly. At this point, it turned into a situation where I was caught in a dilemma, so I told him, "There's no way the older sister would show you her skirt first. So this time, you won't get an answer." The young guy suddenly had no more tricks to play and had to give up. Since it was evening, we went to have dinner together. During the meal, he even pretended several times that his chopsticks were too hot and dropped them on the floor, really trying to sneak a peek at my underwear. But unfortunately for him, I was on guard. There was even a time when he tried to reach out and touch my thigh, but I slapped his hand away, which startled him so much that he bumped his head on the table. Later, since it was still early, and I didn't have any other plans for the evening, I agreed to his persistent urging to go with him to a KTV room near a motel, to sing a few songs and unwind. This young guy actually tried to provoke me, but I naturally didn't fall for it. However, since it was just the two of us singing, I felt it was a bit boring and was about to decline. But then I thought, if I went back like that, wouldn't it be even more boring? Alone? So, in the end, I agreed to sing a few songs with him before heading back. Unexpectedly, when we got to the KTV, there was another male classmate of Xiaoqing's. Later, the three of us were together, and in a daze, I lost consciousness. Now I know that I drank something they had spiked. When I woke up, I found myself lying in a motel room. Or more precisely, I was lying in the bathtub of that motel room. Around me were two young boys. And not only was I already in an awa state, but I also found that they were naked and soaking in the bathtub with me. They told me, that last night I was very enthusiastic and participated in a threesome with them, but that was when I was in an unclear state. Now that I was sober, they asked to do it again. Seeing this situation, I really wanted to refuse, but I also knew that the power dynamics were unequal, and I had no grounds to refuse. So I, reluctantly, in a sober state, I ended up joining them again. I even reached a climax with them again. How am I supposed to explain this to my boyfriend?